Breaking news, Tony Vitello leaves Knoxville and the University of Tennessee to become manager of the San Francisco Giants, the first ever college baseball coach to go directly from college, first ever MLB manager to come directly from college with zero pro experience. Tony Vitello makes history after leaving a legendary legacy at the University of Tennessee. Just what he was able to do and what he did at the University of Tennessee should not and will not go unnoticed, because when he got there in June of 2017, the Tennessee Volunteers baseball program had not been to an NCAA tournament since 2005. And since his first day on campus, he went 295 and 112. That's a 725% win percentage. He won 0.725% of his games. Almost 75% of his games. It's unbelievable. And he took them to 5 tournaments, 5 bids, 3 College World Series appearances, and a national championship in 2024. Tennessee's first national championship in program history. The Tony Vitello era at Tennessee will go down in history as one of the greatest ever, if not the greatest ever. Honestly, the greatest ever in Tennessee baseball history. And now he takes on the next challenge in his life. And that is managing at the Major League Baseball level, the show, the greatest show of all, the highest, the biggest stage. And it's something that maybe someone thought could happen and could do one day. I mean, records are bound to be broken. History's bound to be made. And who better to do it than Tony Vitello at this point in time in his career and the opportunity he's getting? I mean, the legacy he leaves Tennessee is second to none. The game of college baseball and pro baseball continues to get closer and closer and closer, and that gray area continues to get bigger as well as smaller because they are getting so much closer together. And Tennessee now looks to the next chapter at the helm of their baseball team with one of the best recruiting classes on campus that they've ever had. They have top recruiting classes coming in. It's just trying to figure out where the direction of the program goes now from a head standpoint, and who leads that, how it gets led, and what does the future of Tennessee baseball look like? I mean, that's the question everyone's going to be asking. All the Tennessee fans are going to be asking. And with that, the 2025 class for Tennessee baseball, number 1 in the country, 17 high school commits, 6 top 100 commits. 2026 class, 3rd in the nation, 19 high school commits, 10 top 100 commits. 2027 class, 2nd ranked in the country, 12 high school commits, 9 top 100 commits, all via perfect game. Tony Vitello has built Tennessee baseball into a national powerhouse in such a short period of time, and he leaves them in incredible hands. You can argue the timing, but I mean, it was the end of the Major League Baseball season. This is when managerial positions get filled. And it's one of those situations in that when you look at it from Tennessee's point of view, you want to do everything you can to keep one of the best coaches in college baseball at the helm of your program. He was the highest paid coach in college baseball history at $3 million a year, just before Jay Johnson at LSU, who just won the national championship for LSU, got a pay raise to make him the number 1 highest paid college baseball coach in the country at just over $3 million a year. But opportunities like this do not come around often. There are only 30 Major League Baseball teams. 30. I mean, it might have been a record. It had to be a record number of managerial opens this season at the end of the year that I've ever seen. There was at least 8, I think, if not 9, but 8 at one time. And to have the opportunity to manage at the major league level, I know is one of Tony Vitello's. He's always aspired to do that. He's always aspired, always challenging himself. He's now signed up for the biggest challenge of his career in managing the Giants, managing a major league franchise. And honestly, it's hard to think of a better coach in college right now, time-wise and capability-wise, to do so than Tony Vitello. And it's just he leaves Tennessee in such a phenomenal place that you can't leave it any better. I don't think any coach, any program can be left in any better position than what Tony Vitello has done and been able to do for Tennessee. And yes, Tennessee has not named a new head coach, a successor, as you can call it, to Tony Vitello yet. And I expect them to do a full national search and go through the protocols. I believe they're required to interview at least three candidates, per source I heard from. But expect Josh Elander to take the helm, in my perspective. And obviously, I honestly think it's his to lose. I don't want to say it's like in a bad way, but just the right fit for the program. No one right now knows the program better than him. I think, I mean, Frank Anderson maybe, but I just think Josh Elander being one of the best up and coming coaches in the game, and obviously one of the top college baseball coaches in searches. It feels like year after year, one of the top assistant coaches in college baseball. And it's October 22nd. The season starts in 3 months. I just find it hard to believe you go out externally and bring a coach in on October 22nd, which probably wouldn't get in until November beginning at least, and trying to run a program that way as well as learn everything at the same time. I just find that so hard to believe. And I don't know. I just feel like Josh Elander is the right fit, especially if you're going into this season. It really reminds me so much of the Danny Hall coaching at Georgia Tech and James Ramsey being the assistant, the longtime assistant, and knowing the program so well. No one at Tech has known it better than him under Danny Hall, and just feels like the right transition is what comes to mind for me. But Tony Vitello taking on the next biggest challenge in his career, managing a major league ball club, and the differences in that from managing and leading a college baseball program of any kind, let alone Division I, let alone SEC, let alone now national powerhouse, to working and coaching and managing 18 to 24, 25-year-olds with COVID and red shirts and transfers and everything, to managing now, I guess, young international kids that making debuts early, let's say 20 to 40-year-olds, grown men, and just, the logistics behind managing a professional franchise in the grind of 162 games, not 60-ish in college, but 162 games and everything that comes around that. It's so hard to kind of put them in comparison because they're so different in how the jobs are viewed, performed, and executed. But one quote that I saw from, who I believe it was Max Scherzer, about Tony Vitello, because he was at Missouri. Max Scherzer, Missouri guy, believe it or not, talked about what it means, what Tony Vitello means in just his viewpoint on it. I want to pull it up so I quote him correctly. But Max Scherzer was quoted talking about Tony Vitello in such a great and strong light. He said, quote, "I absolutely believe in him. He's to this day one of my closest friends, and I absolutely believe he's going to get it done at the big league level," end quote, on his former pitching coach at Missouri. I mean, if anyone to that caliber like Max Scherzer believes in him, I don't see why he can't get it done. But we'll see what happens. It's the proof's in the pudding, and he's going to have to work in such a, I think, similar but different capacity, because you're not recruiting guys like you are in college. You're not having to scout and deal with NIL and things like that. You're dealing with professional athletes that have agents and, draft departments and front offices and everything dealing with that. You're focused on managing the ball club that you have in front of you, and just, it's so hard to put in comparison, like I said, those two, at college and pro, even though the blend and the gray area has gotten smaller and smaller. I mean, we've seen Trey Savage, for example, pitching at East Carolina last year, started the season after getting drafted by the Blue Jays in A-ball this season. He made his major league debut pitching the postseason in two of the biggest games for the Toronto Blue Jays. And now he went from starting the season in A-ball after being in college at a mid-major last season to he's going to finish the season competing and pitching in the Major League Baseball World Series. The game has just changed and evolved so much over the years, and it's so fascinating to see in just how it evolves, the way, the timeline, and everything around it. But I'm excited, honestly. I mean, I know Tennessee fans are having a really tough week after everything around Tennessee sports, but I think as an outsider looking in, I'm so excited to see what this era of Tennessee looks like continuing going forward, but even more so, what Tony Vitello looks like and what his job and how he's able to do it and execute it at the major league level. I'm going to be so fascinated and just plugged into that and excited to see how it works. I mean, you got to think the Giants are a phenomenal organization historically, and I just think leadership wise, it's such a great run organization. And yes, you're competing in the National League West with the Dodgers, the payroll obviously with that, the Padres. But I mean, the Giants have been able to do it. They won 3 World Series alternating years in the early 2010s. I mean, they've proven they can win it and they can do it at the highest level. But you also have a guy that I think is a phenomenal person in that front office in Buster Posey. No one knows that organization better than him. And to have him in your corner and just know everything as the president of baseball ops, he assumed the role last September in 2024. I just think that Buster Posey and Tony Vitello are become incredibly close friends. I think that they strategically think alike in the game of baseball, and Buster Posey's gonna be able to provide so much insight and be such a phenomenal and such a valuable resource for Tony Vitello that it's going to help him so much in his role as manager. And I'm excited to see how it works out. And I honestly believe it will. And I know that we give coaches in college football, especially, but college baseball, such short leashes to turn programs around, to implement change, to be successful. In college, obviously, you're recruiting, getting your recruits in on campus and implementing changes and everything. In pros, obviously, you're not doing that, but it's like, what does success look like in year one for Tony Vitello? I think you're gonna have to have realistic expectations, and it's not all gonna be on his shoulders, because at the end of the day, these are professional athletes. These are the best 750 players in the world. There's not even enough Major League Baseball players that have made their debut to fill up an entire Major League stadium. That's how few Major League Baseball players there have ever been, and how good and how elite they are. And the Giants are not going to be afraid to spin, I don't think. I love the shift they're going from where they were and just the success they've had. I think recently coming back into the national image, national picture from their 2010 dominance, it felt like. But I just think that people are going to have realistic expectations for what success looks like in year one with Tony Vitello at the helm of the Giants head coach and manager, excuse me. And with that, having real expectations and realistic expectations for the next manager and next head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. Like I said, I expect it to be Josh Yelander. I think he's the right and perfect fit for it, but I don't know. Anything can happen. Tennessee athletic director put out a statement, and reading through that statement didn't really indicate anything. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, whichever you want to call it, but official statement from Tennessee athletic director Danny White states, "Congratulations to Tony on an incredible opportunity to lead the San Francisco Giants. We wish him the best as he embarks on this next chapter in his career, and thank him for everything he has done to transform Tennessee baseball into a championship program. The growth of baseball on Rocky Top has been remarkable, accumulating in the 2024 National Championship. We are committed to continuously investing in the program at a championship level across all areas. Furthermore, the upcoming $109 million renovation to Lindsey Nelson Stadium will transform it into one of the premier baseball venues, providing an exceptional experience for baseball fans in all the sports. Our focus is on our players and coaching staff while finalizing the next steps in this evolving process." Take what you want from that. That's kind of as I expected, I think, from a statement. I mean, an immediate statement, but also that, yes, you can argue they had time to prepare for it to an extent. But that you have to say with that, honestly, like, you give him his flowers. He is unbelievably, absolutely deserved it. And you focus on the future of the program, the current renovations are going on. I saw them last was at the beginning of 2025, the renovations they just started when I was up there for opening weekend for Tennessee, when they started their season as defending national champions with a friend of mine who played at Tennessee, enjoying the weekend, watching the boys play and just seeing the flock of support. Imagine 10 years ago to 2015. Imagine people coming out to sell out Lindsey Nelson Stadium, to sell out a Tennessee baseball home game. Unbelievable. Not possible. When Tony Vitello started there in 2018, they had a couple hundred fans in attendance at most. There's pictures online. You can see it and what he has turned that into. There were a couple hundred fans, I believe, at practice yesterday, a scrimmage that Tennessee had on a Tuesday at 2:00. To be able to turn that in 2018 to 2025, there's only a few coaches and people that are able to are able to do that. And Tony Vitello is one of them and absolutely did it. Not only to do that on national stage, to do that in the SEC of all conferences, the college baseball conference. Unbelievable in this day and era, in this decade. It's just Tennessee fans are going to be pissed, going to be mad. They're going to be disappointed, sad, angry, but never not give Tony his respect for what he did and what he's turned Tennessee baseball into. And give him his flowers, thank him, and look to continue to support the Tennessee baseball program. I think that's all you can do. And honestly, if you're in his shoes, if I'm in his shoes, and I tweeted this out on Saturday, I believe, if I had the opportunity in his shoes, what I did at Tennessee or any program, to go start coaching in college, and to go manage a Major League Baseball franchise with zero professional coaching experience or playing experience, I'm 100% I'm 99% going to go do that. I don't blame him a single bit, not even for a fraction of a second, because at the end of the day, no matter how good or bad I think Tony Vitello does as manager of the Giants, I don't think it's all going to fall on his shoulders, even though some people are going to blame it all on him if it goes bad or give him all the credit for it going incredibly well. I believe that Tony Vitello will always have an opportunity after this chapter as the Giants manager. If he decides to stay, wherever that kind of direction goes, he will always have an opportunity to go coach and be a top candidate and a highly qualified candidate with now managerial experience in Major League Baseball to coach at a Power 4 level at a top program in the country. And any program would be lucky to have him. I think he will always have that going forward. And knowing that, as well as the rare opportunity to coach one of the 30 Major League Baseball franchises, unbelievable. I mean, I think it's the right and best move for him. He's always had that aspiration. And Tony Vitello is a guy that loves to challenge himself. I sat down with him last fall, October 2024, a few months after Tennessee won their national championship, their first one in baseball, an exclusive interview for about an hour, honestly. Just got to really learn more about him and talk through his career, how he coaches, how he recruits, how he thinks. And you got to think, not a lot of people know Tony Vitello started his coaching career in a summer league. No one really knows that, honestly. It's so fascinating to think, because I had to do some research on it and found it out. I mean, I'm going to pull it back up because it was so cool and I don't want to misquote it. Because he started, how many coaches have started their head coaching career in a collegiate summer league versus, yes, he went back to Missouri after playing there. He started there as a volunteer assistant before being promoted to a full-time assistant, where he started coaching the pitchers. It's just incredible. I mean, he started coaching in a summer league at the Salinas Packers. That's what it was, before starting in college at Tennessee. I mean, to his journey and path has been so unique, I think, and one that is inspiring to a lot of people that want to get in the coaching realm of things as well. But just sitting there and learning about his philosophy, his career path, coaching former teammates that he had at Missouri, going from a player to a volunteer assistant to turning Tennessee into a national powerhouse program. And it's just so inspiring to see. And I think that people won't probably on a national scale, give it the recognition that it deserves to a full extent. But man, it's just incredible. And I'm, like I said, I'm excited to see what Tennessee looks like the next few years on the baseball diamond at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. You get the full renovation, $109 million renovation. That's going to be absolutely beautiful when it's done. You have just a fan base that supports this baseball program like they never have before. And I think that support will continue to be unwavering. So I'm excited. And I think it should be unwavering because this Tennessee baseball program is special. And I learned that a lot through Tony Vitello, sitting down with him for an hour and hearing from the players about it as well. Sitting down with an interview with Hunter Inslee and what Tony Vitello has meant to him as a coach and as a mentor in learning the philosophies that he has. And it's going to be interesting to see. And I'm excited to see it go forward. I mean, all chapters in at some point. Obviously, Tennessee didn't want it to end like this or in this way or this timing yet. But man, Tony Vitello takes the next step, next challenge in his career, the next chapter as he leaves Knoxville to become a Major League Baseball manager, the manager of the San Francisco Giants. Unbelievable job. Kudos to Tony Vitello for everything he's accomplished at Tennessee, what he's built the program into, and the joys of the journey. Talk about that a lot. And I'm excited to see what Tennessee baseball looks like going forward, what's next for them, and what Tony Vitello is able to do as manager in Major League Baseball for the San Francisco Giants. Only time will tell, and we'll see.